a sort of rash of videos that have been edited to make the president appear especially frail or mentally confused. I'm wondering if the White House is especially worried about the fact that this appears to be a pattern that we're seeing more and more.
Yeah, and I think you all have called this the cheap fakes video, and that's exactly what they are. They are cheap fakes video. They are done in bad faith, and some of your news organization have been very clear, have stressed that these the right-wing critics of the president have a credibility problem because of the fact checkers have repeatedly caught them pushing misinformation, disinformation, and so we see this, and this is something coming from your part of the world, calling them cheap fakes and misinformation. I think that it tells you everything that we need to know about how desperate Republicans are here.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Hello, and welcome to the Friends of Zeus podcast. We are here at episode 219.
Unbelievable.
It's a very exciting number. I'm glad, Mike told me that it was episode 219. Mm-hmm. Today we want to talk about some stuff that's come out in the news over the last, I guess it was within the last week to 10 days. A couple of things have happened. The notable thing that really sort of sparked our discussion in the text chat that we do is that last week, and Mike, I don't know exactly what day, I know you told me, but the news broke that Joe Biden has
Bo Jiden.
He's got a pretty serious case of prostate cancer. Yep. Which I guess is already spread. It's metastasized, as they say, to his bones. This is Joe Biden, the same Joe Biden that, was our president up until January, I believe, 20th, that ran for re-election over the course of his recent term as president. We all know that just ended. But suddenly he's got prostate cancer. He's at a level 9 of 10. It's in his bones. And they just found this out is really what we're supposed to accept. And so we were all sort of shaking our heads a little bit, scratching our heads. And also this is the same week that a new book has come out. CNN's own resident D-bag, Jake Tapper. He has written a book with a journalist. I forget the journalist, the co-author's name.
Alex something.
Is it Alex? Is it Thompson?
I think Alex Thompson.
I think it's Alex Thompson. So they wrote this book together. They interviewed, I don't know, hundreds of people that were close or inside the White House, and basically has to do with Joe Biden's onset of senility, call it dementia, if you will, and the cover-up. So essentially, he was president of the United States, non-compos mentis, as they say, toward the end, and that all blew up with the first debate, which they try to So that's really that's setting the table, I guess. That's where we're at, and so. I'll throw it to you guys. What did you think when you heard this, or what do you know, and what do you infer? What does it imply, as they say?
What do you think it does? Like when you heard this, I mean, so the diagnosis was almost 2 weeks ago, on May 15th.
Sorry, I'm just trying to find something real fast. It doesn't really matter. Well, okay, so let's take a medical moment with Desiree for a second.
I love that.
Prostate cancer is pretty easy to find. Usually it's found pretty early in stages because it's a routine screening situation. I'm sure some of us not me, because I do not have a prostate, But the three folks on this on this podcast that have prostates may have been screened before. Am I right?
Yes.
I
Okay.
yeah. I
It's a si
haven't, but I should.
well,
Yeah.
you
Oh,
should.
yeah, you
Men
have
over
to.
50 need
Yeah.
to be screened.
Oh,
Every
that I have some time
here's
then.
the recommendation. 2 to 3 years. 2 to 3 years.
Every
Yep.
2 to 3 years.
Every 2 to 3 years. Annual if you're at risk, meaning you have family history or whatever. One could argue that President Joe Biden is at risk because he's had cancer doesn't mean that it's been any kind of aggressive cancer. He has had skin cancer before, so he is at higher risk for cancers in general. So let's just say he had it. If they're going to say every 2 to 3 years, let's just say 2 years because he is a U.S. president. He should have the utmost impeccable health care that there is in the land, right? You would think. One would
From
think.
from a national security perspective. Yeah.
And if they do annual physicals. I mean, I'm sure that they do whatever the recommendation screenings for various things, colon cancer, skin cancer, lung cancer, screenings. There's
Yeah.
screenings, all sorts of them. This is not something where it's like, okay, oh, I gotta go to get my physical, and they're gonna stick 2 fingers in my ass. This is a blood test. This is a simple blood test.
The PSA.
Yes, simple. So let's just say he would have gotten every 2 years, because that's the minimal recommendation. Every 2 years PSA. The last I saw somewhere that the last PSA that he's had was supposedly in 2014. So you would think
Hmm.
2016, 2018, 2020, 22, 24. You would think that he would have five screenings. There's no way he went 10 years. There is no way that he
Nope.
went 10 years without a screening. None.
Yeah.
Come on
So,
Yeah.
now.
well, here's
Because here's
something.
the thing, and the other thing that like a lot of times, even outside of the screening, a lot of the things that the men come in with that are like triggersome to screen for the prostate cancer or do, whatever
Urine
exams
problems.
is urination problems, frequency,
Yeah.
hesitancy, urinating frequently at night, um, and trouble entering your bladder, like stuff like that. And he's reportedly in all these articles, he like just when he like, oh, I've been having some trouble urinating recently. I went to the doctor. No. And
Yeah.
it's stage 4 with Mets to the bone. Are you kidding me? No.
And Gleason score of 9. And I mean,
The Gleason score doesn't really, but what a Gleason score is it kind of tells the aggressiveness of the cancer, meaning they take two sorts of cells from the biopsy and they kind of look at them and they say, okay, and based on how abnormal those cells are, that's what gives them the Gleason score. The Gleason score doesn't really have anything to do with the staging of the cancer, if that makes sense.
but it from what I read, and I don't know because I'm not an expert, but it does show the how different the cells are than like say what typical cells would be.
Right.
I mean, there is
So
a measure, but yeah, it's not so much severity, it's basically how far along the prostate cancer has progressed,
it's basically
not its lethality.
not it's how quickly it could spread, I guess, is a
Okay.
measurement of it. Because the more aggressive, the more abnormal the cells are, the more likely it is to spread to other things. But you've got to think this is the life cycle of a cancer. It grows, it forms a tumor, then it spreads to the lymph nodes, and then it metastasizes.
Yeah.
That's stage 4. You went through all them stages in a month? No, you didn't.
Well,
No,
I
you
mean,
didn't.
I would like to cut through the suspense, and I mean, I to me, there's no question that at least the Biden family, if not the people in the executive branch, knew that he had this probably before he was elected. Um,
Yep.
that's just my own take. We do have a special guest, the super crazy fun happy guest. And periodically they may text in with some comments. They they're eating a large burrito tonight and they can't speak. But our guest did say, if you're going to get cancer, prostate cancer is the one you want.
Yeah.
right? And
It has a 98% 5-year mortality rate, meaning it's really good at surviving. Like people usually get this, they'll get usually, because they catch it so early, they'll do a simple prostectomy. Prostectomy.
which is like
Say that
that's
word 5 times fast.
prostectomy. Is that the two finger thing? No,
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 a
that's
prostectomy.
that's
They
like
take it
they
out.
remove it.
They just do a
So,
surgery on your butt hole, and they
so
take that out on your gooch. And they throw it in the trash,
and then
and
that's
on you
it.
are. You don't
And then
even
you keep
usually don't even have to have follow-up radiation or anything.
and
So,
not to get too nitty-gritty here, but if you are not interested in having children, then you probably don't need the prostate. Is that an accurate statement?
I don't know what the prostate does. I think it's one of the organs you probably don't need. It just causes problems.
It does. I know it has something to do with semen. I know that. Like it is in that process because
Yeah,
I did 3 minutes of research before the show,
but you
and
don't need it to
no,
ejaculate. It does have
no,
it
it
does have
helps.
it has does something to do with the
It kind
ejaculatory
of
process,
it
but
kind of greases the
maybe
skids.
just like those wheels when you go along and like you're like a it just kind of it makes them go faster, I guess maybe. But you don't need that. I mean, if it
I mean, as
we don't
I've
need to
gotten
hit the
older,
wall, okay? We don't need to do that to
yeah, I
have
mean,
babies.
as I've gotten older, I've realized that I need less and less of my body.
You got, you probably don't need those arms.
Yeah, man, who needs
Don't need
arms?
this face.
So our guest says the prostate would be the womb if we were females.
No, it's
That's
not.
yeah. Well, this is what the guest is
I
saying.
heard
This
it
is
feels
I'm
really
not
good
saying
if you
this.
touch it.
Yeah. So that's a whole other episode. I do know, um, through the years that there have been people who I have respect for and admire who have been like, man, you really need to get a prostate exam. And there's actually been people that have organized their friends to go together to a
To get their
doctor
prostrate checked,
to do it like it's a party and then like hit the bar afterwards
train a prostate
to kind
exams
of
or
demystify
to
it.
train a.
Yeah, to demystify it and kind of, because, I don't know, it's having some dude's fingers up your butt. I mean, that's not
But
something
it's
that
not some
you're
dude's
used to.
fingers in your butt. It's a. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
Listen,
a
no, wait,
dude,
wait, wait.
I can't act like
The
I know
PSA
what
is a
you're doing.
blood test.
Mm-hmm.
right? But they still need to do, well, yeah, either one. The PSA is the
Yeah.
more modern version.
Right. The proctological exam is to see if it's enlarged, because that's sort of an
Yeah.
indicator that you may have a problem down the road.
Or BPH or something like that. Benign
Right. So,
prostate hypertrophy.
Yeah, I
It's a
mean,
big word.
I
I don't
would
know.
say, and our guest said that, doesn't the president have these tests all the time? And I would like, absolutely,
That's what I'm saying.
Like
yeah.
Desiree said, I mean, again, the president's health is it's a matter of national security. It literally is. So if the president is physically compromised, that matters.
Yeah.
It's not like, some rando person out there.
You
Um,
guys, hold on. You guys are saying a minute ago, like they probably knew that he had this before
10
he even.
years.
So
I mean,
here's the thing. Here's what I don't understand. Again, it's a very, 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 it's a very curable cancer.
mhm.
If they knew he had it, why at that time did they not just take care of it? They took care of all his
I
other
don't know.
cancers, which he does have a history of several. He's had several cancerous
Well, he
lesions.
had an aneurysm.
They've been basal cell carcinomas that he's had.
Yeah.
He's had several removed.
Well, what's the greater odd? Is the greater odd that they knew he had it and they didn't treat it, or is the greater odd that they didn't know he had it? I mean, to
I
me,
would say 10 years ago they probably didn't know, but that I just don't
but they probably
it
knew 4 years ago.
it behooves me that like
I mean, from what
you
Yeah,
I've,
went
look,
10 years without
we
finding
don't
that.
we don't know. I mean, maybe it was so far gone when they did test for it as president that they covered it up for that maybe he was getting treatments, is what I mean. And now, like, I think the big reveal was almost intentional because the book was coming out. And I think that it's hard to pile on a guy when you find out that he's got terminal friggin' cancer. Like, I just figured it would help them kind of move on from the revelations from the book and the cover up of the mental problems, which to me is a bigger issue than the fact that maybe this guy was getting cancer treatment and they didn't tell anybody because it would have hurt his chances of reelection. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it would have destroyed his chances of reelection. And what
Yeah,
is the
totally.
name? What's the name of this book? I know it was written by the Claude Rains character from Casablanca, Jake Tapper, but
Yes.
it's called like what's it called? I can't even
Is
remember.
isn't it Original Sin?
Original Sin.
I'm
So
looking it up right now.
yeah, I mean,
Tapper
this
Tapper
is
book.
in
Yeah,
all of
it's called Original Sin. President Biden's decline, the cover up, and his disastrous choice to run again. That's the name of it.
if you I'm not surprised by things that happen in our politics, but this still just took my breath away. I mean, the audacity
Yep.
for some for some dude like Jake Tapper, who is not a journalist, he is a paid propagandist for the party and has been for years. His previous career, he worked for the party. Um, to all of a sudden come out. I mean, I can't even believe, even though I think that they're horrible people, and that he's a horrible person, I still can't believe he would have the audacity to pretend as though he is discovering this when on this little podcast of ours, we were talking about this 3+ years ago, like
Yep.
Biden's decline. Um, I don't know what's going. I mean, I don't know who's buying this book or who is surprised. Here's the thing, and I've been doing a lot of thinking about it, not reading, just thinking. This book is cover. It is
Yep.
he is as evil, and the people in the party media are as evil as they always have been. This book, they're not having a come to Jesus moment. They're not sorry about what they did. This book is cover so that they can create this narrative that like, oh man, that administration, they snookered us.
Right.
We were doing our damnedest. We were like climbing up the walls of the White House and
Right.
peeping in, doing all this journalism, and they just hid it from us. Like we asked tough questions and they just lied, and this administration just completely pulled the wool over our eyes. Darn it, we'll get them next time. I mean, that is the
Yeah,
message
that's
of
it.
this book, just so they can hide behind it. And
Right.
it's
And it's
so
also,
offensive. It's so offensive
yeah,
that they
Mike.
think we're that much of that we're idiots, you
Yeah,
know?
no, what they're trying to do is reestablish credibility, right? I mean,
Yes. Yes.
that's what it is. They want us to listen to them again. And Tapper of all people, he's the guy whose mug is on CNN every night or whatever time he's on there. And he was the one he moderated the debate, the first
Yeah,
debate with Dana Bash, is that her name?
I believe so. Yeah.
Who's
Yes.
another one. And I don't know if you've heard this, but the new CNN spin, they had some medical doctor on it. And of course, they're all repeating what she said. But she's claiming the reason why this diagnosis is all of a sudden is because he was so old that you kind of stop testing for it after you reach a certain point. And that's absolute bullshit.
Yeah, that's
Not
crazy.
when you're the
What?
president. Not when you're the
Not when
sitting
you're the
president.
president. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and then as a footnote to that, then they point out that well, we haven't seen Donald Trump's medical records, and he's 80 years old too.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable. It's
Well,
unbelievable. But Jake
He
Tapper's
takes
honest
two
now.
cholesterol medications and a fucking medicine for psoriasis. That's what he takes. It's
wow.
on the internet. You can look it up.
Well, they're
But
claiming
but
that
even
he's
so,
hiding it.
I mean, is there
Oh, you want to
really?
talk about some stuff? I just happened upon this. Listen to this.
Yeah.
Um, in that book, Mr. Tapper just released, um, they allege that the former president hid information about the cancer diagnosis of his late son, Beau Biden, who was elected official at the time. Not only did the authors claim that he mis that this let me start over. Not only did the authors claim that this misled the public about Beau Biden's mental fitness, they also say it demonstrates the Biden's capacity for denial and the lengths they would go to avoid transparency about the health conditions. Um,
Well, sure.
he had a
I'm,
glioblastoma,
yeah,
and
and
they told everyone that he had a small tumor removed from his brain. Glioblastoma is bad.
I mean, can anyone list three things that the Biden um, mafia told the truth about? I seriously, not to be funny, but I'm hard pressed to think of stuff that they were truthful about, like anything,
Hmm.
like name it. Um, again, our guest was asking, isn't the president's health something they check periodically? And
You
they
would
had
think.
already said he was not mentally fit to represent himself a while back or to be, yeah. Look, there is nothing has changed. We still have the establishment party and their press in this country that gaslight the population, lie to the population, push a narrative, push talking points that support a centralized, powerful establishment over the will of the people,
Yep.
and nothing has changed. It's right now, everyone on who is not a radical leftist, the people that voted for Trump are like, wow, we won, yay, everything, happy times are here again, like whatever. That is not the case. We are in the eye of the hurricane, right?
Yep.
Or the tornado. Like we're in the calm. Um, you know, Someone said this a few weeks ago, and I was just like, damn. But they were right. They were like, the Republican Party needs to wake up and understand that Donald Trump got 77 million votes this last election, not them, right? Donald Trump won the election, not the Republican Party. When
That's right.
he is out, the Republican Party still sucks, right? And they are this much better than the Democrat Party. And we're in a period of time right now that a lot of good stuff is going to happen, but this is just getting started, man. We're this is there is no this is not over. I mean,
No,
I
it's not. It's
Yeah,
not, Mike. And you can sort of see it now. You see the Republicans in Congress dragging their feet on certain things. They're not going after people. I mean, I couldn't believe Bongino and Cash Patel got on TV and said Epstein killed himself. Because I refuse to effing believe that. I'm never,
yeah.
ever going to believe the cameras stopped working. The guards fell asleep.
The
He hung
cameras
himself.
never work,
He
Jack.
he hung
And
himself in like a
you're an
6 foot.
attorney. You should know the cameras never record. You should know that.
They
What do you mean
don't?
they never
They
record?
never record. Every single time there's a murder or an event or a
Are you
criminal
saying
act
that they're all set
and
up?
there's a camera, they never record. I don't know what it is. They just don't. It's like Murphy's Law.
Well, if Epstein was going to kill himself, he had ample opportunity to do it many other times. He was caught years earlier and went through a
Yeah.
whole trial. This
Yep.
stuff was out there. My whole thing is, why would he kill himself now? He was already disgraced. He had already been through this whole court thing like 10 years earlier. Our guest is saying, Clinton had skin cancer, FDR had polio. Isn't it
Well,
something? Yeah,
the FDR parallels are huge because I mean, in that case, Eleanor they say was actually running things,
yeah,
and we had Jill Biden who was literally like sitting in meetings with the where
yeah.
in the president's seat. I mean, the fact that she was part of this cover up and propping him up and flying him all over the world and speaking for him. I remember that one time there was like a Q&A or a town hall and Jill was like clapping at the end, being, Joe, you answered all the questions. Like, I mean, so proud of her
We
sickly husband.
Yeah.
She
I
was
mean,
she was like a modern Eleanor. She totally was.
what we just experienced from 2020 to 2024, and I'm not saying this to be, you know, with hyperbole. We went through a coup. We really
Yep.
did because no one so far, and I hope this comes out. You talk about Bongino and Patel and Bondi and all these people. I still want accountability. We still haven't had any. And I
Nope.
know we're only like 5 months into this. I get it. But we went through a period of time where we don't even know who was signing bills, man. I mean, they were
Or
using the auto pen, like
right.
there
Or
was,
pardons.
or pardons. Um, that is, it is not just the largest scandal in modern times in our country. It's the largest scandal in our country, period. Um, I mean, the fact that we had somebody that was in the executive branch and who was not the final word on things and who wasn't even signing things and who wasn't even aware of what the hell was going on half the time.
Right.
And because this ideology, this party ideology has captured our journalism class, our fourth estate. There's no curiosity to figure out who that person was or who those people were.
Yeah.
Um, there's stories out there that there were like 20-year-old aides that were like, well, we're kind of running things now,
Yeah.
I mean, like,
That's right.
it's
Yeah. I told you that
preposterous.
the theater kids took over the fucking. You know what I mean? Like
Right. And you
they
look at
had it.
and you look at someone like Joe Biden, and I
That's why
had
there was that's why there were trans people taking their clothes off in the fucking front lawn of the White House.
right. There's like, I mean, but I mean, you look at someone like Joe Biden, and I said this earlier in the thread, how this woman needs to be put under oath, right?
Yep.
And ask some questions because she she is the closest person to Joe. She had 100% knowledge
Isn't
of
she a
his
doctor?
condition. She is a
She's got an education doctorate.
yeah, it's not a PhD.
No,
Um,
it's not a medical doctor.
it's
Oh,
No.
not a
okay.
medical
Okay.
doctor. But my point is, I mean, again, just think about this with your own spouse, loved one, whatever. If they were going through this, would you prop them up like this in front of cameras and in front of the
No.
world? I mean, the she's her behavior is so diabolical.
Yep.
Her behavior is so disgusting. And the fact that she is not being held to account is is a big, big problem because she really needs to be. I mean, look at this country, man. I mean, thank God certain things didn't happen. Thank
I
God
know.
there weren't certain disasters and things like that. At the end of the day, and we've talked about this before, there's always been partisanship. There's partisanship in any government in any country in the world, right? I mean, there's people that feel very strongly about things politically, and as do I. However, going back through history, it's the presidents since I've been an adult, Bill Clinton, these are people from the party, right? Bill Clinton, Obama. Um, if something were to happen where like another like 9/11 sort of thing, and Bill Clinton was president, I would trust that he would deal with that situation. Like I may not agree with everything he does, but I at least trusted that he was competent, that he had his wits about him, and same for Obama, even though I disagree with him on like a million things. I at least trust that he had his faculties about him.
Right.
I don't have that feeling. And not only do I not have that feeling, I know that Biden did not have his faculties about him. I mean, if you had something like a 9/11 happen when Biden was president, I mean, think about what a catastrophe that would have been, I mean, again, even the founder of our podcast, he was like, "Oh, I didn't like Bush, but I thought he did a good job during 9/11. A lot of people in the Democrat Party felt that way. They didn't like George Bush, but they felt he did a good job with that. We didn't even have that with Biden,
No.
you know?
No, I think the implications of this, and you touched on it a little bit. If you go back in time, like you said, what if certain things happened, right? If you go back in time, okay, so Trump is president, the Democrats are flailing, he's doing all this crazy shit, he's going to change everything, he's going to drain the swamp and blah blah blah. They got to get power back, right? So when you looked at the field of Democrats, Biden seemed like the guy because he was kind of moderate and he had sort of a likability. He was a professional politician, had been his whole life, right? So he had a resume. He had a certain charm, but you could already see during the campaign that there were indicators of some level of senility even then. So
Yeah.
let's assume they knew that there was some level of dementia, okay, because he was an old guy, and there were indicators. Let's say they knew he had prostate cancer, because how could they not have known that at that point in the man's life he must have been getting tested? What, does he just not go to doctors ever?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they knew that they were propping up a guy with a serious health issue and a mental health issue, but he was the best they had. They couldn't get behind Bernie. Kamala was losing everywhere she was going. So it was like, well, and then there was Mayor Pete. Like, who was the field?
Who, right.
So they had to prop up Biden and insulate him. And remember, he ran that campaign from his basement. Thank you, COVID. Okay. And COVID was another mystery. The timing of that, COVID, George Floyd, the summer, everything was stacked against Trump. And there was so much disorder and chaos that it was like the country was going to turn to something else. You know what I mean? At that point, Trump
Well,
was Trump was behind the eight ball. And not only that, they were ballot harvesting. We already talked about the 2,000 mules, the Dominion voting machines, the Pennsylvania state government that basically threw their voting constitution rules out the window. Basically everything was lining up so to make sure that Trump didn't win. So then it happens. Trump loses. And now we got this guy in there who, let's say, has a serious
Yeah.
cancer issue that's not being revealed. And now, thank you, Jake Tapper. It turns out that he's been out of his mind almost the entire time. And they're covering all of that up.
yeah.
Meanwhile, they're jailing all of Trump's lawyers. They're indicting him 4 times. They shoot at him. I mean, like, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
And they're still propping up Joe to run for reelection. So they know this man is dying
They,
and he's out of his mind, but they're running him anyway because
yeah.
they've already got the cover up going. So they're like, we're going to keep this going for until the old man dies, and that's going to be it.
Well, the lie that they want you to believe, and when I say they, it's this establishment, whether it be the press, the party, I mean they're one and the same,
Yep.
is that there is that the illusion of having this president or this leader. The truth is the power is held by whatever subgroup, right? I mean, they have discovered that they don't need a strong candidate. They just need someone to win and be an avatar and be in the position, and someone they can control, because the power is whoever is behind the curtain that still hasn't really been fully revealed yet.
Yeah.
Um, but they're not, that's why they were okay running Harris, because they don't they don't
It didn't
need
matter.
they don't need a president. They just need a figurehead to win the position.
Yeah,
That's
but
all they
remember,
need.
but even Harris was a reluctant last minute choice, because you think about this. What they should have done, and this is part of the scandal too, Mike. We have something in this country called the 25th Amendment, right?
Correct.
Okay. That's what should have happened,
Yeah,
because they knew that he had pretty much lost his marbles. It wasn't just that he might be terminally ill.
they
Okay,
knew it.
they knew it,
Yeah, so
and they didn't yank him, because if they had yanked him, then Kamala is president, and they didn't have faith in her being able to win a reelection against Trump.
Yeah, I mean,
They never did. They never did. It was a last ditch, white dudes for Kamala and all this BS. You know what I mean? Like they knew she didn't have a shot.
the 25th Amendment, for people that don't understand it, basically it has to do with the vice president and then the rest of the president's cabinet level officials. And it doesn't say, if you feel that the president is unfit to serve in his role, meaning suppose there's a big problem or a war breaks out, or it takes a certain amount of mental acuity and uh, with itness to be president. So it's not like, man, if you think the president is compromised, you have this option to do the 25th Amendment. That's not what it says. It says if you feel the president is compromised, it is your duty, as when you take the oath, part of your job is to enact this. It's like you are compelled to do it. It's not
Mhm.
like, you know what, maybe we'll do the 25th Amendment. So you've got people behind the scenes. You've got Harris, who's one of the few people that's meeting with this guy every 2 to 3 days, right? So the stretches of time where it's every day. She's seeing him the entire, like all the time. Her and Jill Biden saw him more than any other human being during this time. You cannot tell me that she did not understand that there was something going on here. And
Right.
the reason that the fact that she did not invoke this and did not get the cabinet to vote for this, and other cabinet members that had been with him, and they're all saying like, "Oh, the administration kept him from us." Dude, you're part of the administration. You are the administration if you're in
Hmm.
the cabinet. It's your job
Yeah,
to to make
but
sure this is running well.
also, Mike, that's the CYA cover your ass move too. Because if you remember when it started to leak, remember when the whole classified documents thing, right? The Biden case.
Yeah,
And there was an investigator, I think his name was Her, who interviewed Biden.
HUR.
And
Yep.
that, but supposedly that interview went very poorly for Joe. Like they
Yes.
literally, they said that they had enough evidence to prosecute him, but they didn't because no juror would find him culpable because he was a doddering old man who couldn't remember anything.
Yep.
Okay, so that
And they
that was
went after him. They tore into
they
her. The
tore
the
him right.
press.
They did. And then also, if you remember, Pelosi, Schumer, Harris, they all went out of their way to go on TV because they had to address this. And they were like, oh, he's sharp as a tack. He's better than he's ever been. Joe Scarborough said, F you, audience, if you don't believe me that this is the best Joe Biden I've ever
Ever.
met.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay. So it
yeah.
was almost like the lady doth protest too much. You know what I mean? Like they were just cheerleading about his mental state being perfectly fine, better than ever,
Knowingly lying. And
knowingly
and
lying.
and I say this for friends of mine and people who, just hate Trump. They have TDS or whatever, or they did whatever, they still think the Democrat Party is what it was in the 90s. Um, if you are still buying into this, you're a fucking idiot. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
this is so out in the open now. It's so blatant. I mean, you have to have your head totally in the sand to not see what is going on at this point. I mean, we are beyond having disagreements, or we don't see things the same way. I mean, if you look at this book from Tapper and how the coverage, and he's out there, and the fact that he has the balls
yeah,
to lie to our faces for years on the TV as a journalist, and
right,
meanwhile here on this podcast, and we're one of millions of people that are like, the emperor has no clothes. And then he comes out with this book, and he comes down from the mountain and is like, there's been gambling going on here at Rick's American Cafe. Unbelievable. Let me tell
right.
you the story. And he's such a grifter. And the fact that he's making, I'm just saying, people that still buy into this stuff, I, I can't. I, it's beyond ignorance. Like to me, it's like if people like still respect Jake Tapper, to me, they're just fucking with me at this point. Like I don't even believe that they believe it anymore. I can't. I have too much
Right.
respect for them to believe that they believe it. I feel like they're just trying to screw me, screw with me now at this point because it's
Yeah.
so over the top. The lies are so over the top.
Yeah, but speaking of the Tapper book, I mean, there's some stuff in there that this Alex Thompson was talking about. Like you were saying, like, hey, who was running the show, right? Like we
Yeah,
don't know what unelected, deep staters. Was it just his White House staff? Was it something else? And they talk about in the book some of the major players here. I don't know if you saw any of these excerpts.
no, I haven't, and like we were saying before, I'm sure there's fantastic information in there, but the idea that they just found this out
Oh, I know, I know.
is too precious. But no, what are the some of the things that
Well,
are in there? Yeah.
here's a couple of things here. It says Biden just had to win, and then he could disappear for 4 years. He'd only have to show proof of life every once in a while. His aides could pick up the slack. The source went on to say that when you're voting for president, you're voting for the aides around him. Those aides were not even Senate confirmed aides. These are White House aides. These were unelected people.
Jeez, man.
One of the things that comes out in our reporting here
I'm
is that
not.
if you believe, and I think a lot of these people do sincerely believe that Donald Trump was and is an existential threat to democracy, you can rationalize anything,
Of course.
including sometimes doing undemocratic things, which I think is what this person is talking about. He's talking about one of these informers. It says revelation came on the back of a startling claim that a trio of senior political veterans who had known Biden for decades worked closely with his wife, Dr. Jill Biden, and occasionally his troubled son, Hunter, to run the show.
Hmm.
Mike Donnellan, Steve Ricchetti, and Bruce Reed were the core three decision makers, the book claims, adding that former senior advisor Annie Tomasini and former chief of staff Ron Klain were also at times part of the group. And then it says five people were running the country, and Joe Biden was at best a senior member of the board.
Yeah.
It says Reed was the real domestic policy advisor. Donnellan was the actual political director. Ricchetti controlled legislative affairs, and Klain controlled a bit of everything. Both Jill and Hunter Biden were prominent and permanent fixtures within Biden's circle of trust. It says to understand Biden's deterioration, one has to also know Hunter's struggles. Um, I mean it's pretty damning. I mean, like
Yeah.
I agree with you about Tapper that this is just a cover up, or maybe it's him trying to lay a foundation for some new direction that he plans to take his
Well,
career in.
he was one of the ones calling people out for saying that Biden was diminished. I mean, he was
Oh,
like he was calling out people on the air to their faces.
he was cutting them off.
He was cutting them off about how Biden is so amazing, and this is someone that was had proximity to Biden and had proximity to other people in the administration. Tapper is the freaking one of the freaking arsonists, and
He was
now
the
he's sitting
mouthpiece.
there. He's sitting there with a fire extinguisher. It's like whatever, man. I mean, this is it's be. I feel it's like again. I'll go back. The audacity. They will stop at nothing. They will. There is no lie crazy enough for them not to tell. I mean, that's what this has taught me. I mean, they
Yeah.
really are psychopaths. They really are, or
Hmm.
sociopaths. They really are. I mean,
Yeah.
by definition, they will lie and then they lie about lying.
Yeah.
It's
And
amazing.
then also, like, I mean, in a way, it's total elder abuse what they did to this person too.
Completely
But
bananas.
even this revelation about the guy's private terminal illness, right? I mean, like that's coming out now to try to deflect some of the attention that this book otherwise would get. Like now you kind of got to feel bad for Joe. Let's
I
not
don't.
beat up. Let's not.
Yeah,
I don't either, Mike.
yeah,
I
I
don't
don't at
either.
all. I
I
don't
don't
even
either.
for a second, man.
No, I don't either. Although
I
I
don't.
wonder how I wonder how with it he was enough to even know what the hell they were doing with him.
I
You
mean,
know what I mean?
I don't wish it upon him, but I don't feel I've no. I mean, I'm like whatever, man. I
No,
mean,
I'm
all the
just
stuff that they did to us
no,
as a
I'm just
country.
saying that it's almost seems like they revealed this terminal illness knowing that this book was going to come out. So maybe people wouldn't
Of
invest, you know what I mean?
course,
Like leave it alone. The poor guy's dying. Leave it alone.
I
You know,
mean
that kind
they
of thing.
have no compunction. I mean, again, the idea that they have learned anything, it's like you got to put that out of your mind. They are playing the same game that they've been playing. It's just a continuation of it. It's it's like what Rush Limbaugh used to say back in the 90s. How can we fool them today? I mean, literally, that's what these people wake up. That's what they're thinking. How can we fool them today? And it's just it's mind-boggling. I mean, here's what I did not have on my bingo card. I did not have Jake Tapper releasing a book, trying to expose how, again, oh my God, there is gambling going on here. Like they've been covering up this thing with Joe Biden. Like I did not have that on my bingo card. I mean,
No,
just
I
the balls it takes to do that, and then for him to have that anus face that he has where he like looks all surprised, like, oh
hmm
man, like it's unbelievable. I mean, the guy's amazing. I mean, I don't know how he can get on TV or show his face in public, but he does. So
Yeah, he does. You know, I
he's
don't.
gonna make millions off of this, off of
Yeah,
his own grift.
yeah, I know. Well, I mean, I almost want to say thank you, Jake, though, because at the same time, this book at least exposes what might be, like you said, the biggest scandal
It
in
is.
political history. I
It
mean, they
is.
basically had a house plant as president who also had terminal cancer probably the entire time, and they were
But
going to run. They were running him again.
but the difference is, I mean, not the difference, but the thing is,
He could still
we
be president.
but we knew about this, and when I say we, I mean us.
Yeah, us.
We
Yeah,
knew about this as early as 2022, 2021, possibly earlier. We have had hours of conversation about this on this very channel, and then
no, we
to
have.
be told like, oh man, look, here's this brand new. I'm like, oh my God, man, are you kidding me? It's unbelievable.
Yeah, but you know what? I like the fact that people did start to whisper, did start to talk, that the stories are coming out because maybe now there will be investigations into this. You know what I mean? Like
Well,
maybe now sources will be interviewed or will be grilled by Congress, and maybe this destroys the party.
here's the thing that, and I need to see it. Here,
Yeah, me too.
I need asses in jail. I
Yep.
need accountability. I need consequence. And again, we've said this before because the Republicans, especially the Senate, they're like, we're going to do an investigation. We're going to ask tough questions and write strongly worded letters. And I'm like, I've been hearing this my whole freaking life.
Yep.
There are chargeable offenses. There are things that should go in front of a judge that have happened just based on what we know already, just based on things that are in Tapper's book,
Yeah.
things that we knew about years ago, things with Fauci, hiding the fact that, the CDC knew that there were risks with the virus as far as like, clogging
Oh, the vaccine.
arteries and
The
the
vaccine.
vaccine.
Yeah.
And again, not
Gain of
and
function
not
research.
and not disclosing it, and not only not disclosing it, but
Lying.
lying and attacking people that were pointing out the truth. Like like I said, all this stuff of, anyone can just like pop on C-SPAN or look at something and be like, man, I love the way that Ted Cruz tore into the like I'm done. I don't care about any of that
Yeah, I
stuff.
don't either.
I want prosecutions. I want accountability. And I'm not saying I have to see people in jail, but I at least want trials. I have to see, I want evidence. I want people under oath. And I want accountability. And here's the Achilles heel of this Trump, Trump's third victory, his second administration. Um, the Achilles heel is if there is not accountability and consequence that comes out of this, we're done. It's just a matter of time. It may take 3 years, it may take 30 years, but this country's over. Like
I agree. I
if
totally
we
agree with you.
yeah, if we can't get accountability now, we're never gonna get it. And
No.
if you don't have accountability, you don't have a country. You
Yeah,
don't,
and that's my problem with like you said, the showboaters on C-SPAN, the Republicans.
yeah,
Now, who knows what the midterms bring too. So there's a tight little window here. There's enough smoke to know there's fire, and there ought to be prosecute. Why haven't they charged Merrick Garland yet? I mean, like
yeah,
for contempt. Why
please.
why isn't he in jail?
Mayorkas. I mean, how many times did that guy lie to
Why can't we
Congress?
why can't we subpoena Kamala Harris and Jill Biden and get their asses
Comey,
on the hot seat? Like, well,
Comey. Yeah,
what's stopping them? And that's what I don't understand what this
I
Congress is doing. I really don't.
and that's what
They're not doing enough. They're not doing anything.
and when they say, "Oh, the Trump administration just wants revenge," I'm like, "Oh, really? Revenge for what?" It's like,
Right.
what's he want revenge for? Oh, let's explore this topic. You guys are saying he wants revenge. Revenge for what exactly? What are we talking about? Right? So they know how much bullshit they did. I mean, they know how all the wrong stuff they did. You know?
I
I
don't think
mean,
they do. Wait, you mean the voters?
no, no, no. I'm talking about like the Schumers and the
Oh
Harrises and the
yeah, yeah.
Jill.
Yeah,
They know.
they totally know.
Um,
The problem is the Republican politicians are getting rich on this grift too.
right. They are part of the establishment, especially
Yep.
the Senate. I mean, the Senate is like a freaking disaster. I mean, anyway, I mean, our guest here,
He's
he's like,
chiming
"Oh
in
yeah,
here.
we got this podcast got dinged for our COVID remarks," and we were factually correct. That's true. We still have a hit. We still have a strike on our
I think we have
channel, I
two.
believe,
I think
from
we have
that.
two.
Yeah,
We have two.
from that,
Yeah, I think we have two strikes. Yeah,
and
look at
we
us
we were
with
completely truthful.
with our 200 subscribers. They came after us.
They came after us.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, that was during the age of the disinformation board and all that stuff that we fortunately survived.
You got
Wait,
Taylor Lorenz.
our guest is chiming in. He says the problem is that the accountability had to be broad. YouTube, the media, the party. If there isn't drastic change, it will rear its ugly head again. Yeah, that's what Mike is saying. I
Yeah,
mean, like this could be this story, if it's explored, investigated, and prosecuted properly, could be like the Death Star's vulnerable spot. Like we could really blow up that party.
yeah.
And if they don't do it, you're right, Mike,
Then
because
there's no accountability. It's
the,
just
the
going to happen
Trump
again.
the Trump party is going to end in 3 years, and then they'll control the media the whole time. Like I said, they're already spinning this. They're already saying, "Well, Biden was so old, that's why he wasn't tested." And oh, by the way, what's wrong with Trump?
I
He's
know.
old too.
I
Like I
know.
mean, they're already doing it, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, if they don't take advantage of this story, and you know what I mean, and yeah, you're right. The ball's on Jake Tapper, right? Of course, but at least there is this book. There are these sources. There are these stories. There are names. Of the names I rattled off from the excerpts of
But
these people. Get them all in front of Congress, in front of a
but but
judge, even.
but the thing that's so infuriating to me is like, who gives a shit if it's Jake Tapper? Like, why does Jake Tapper have to bring this out and now it's legitimate? Like, I'm tired of
No, I know, but at
people that
least it's out.
know. Well, I get it, but people that are like even if they see that this establishment party media is not media, is not journalists, but is just the propaganda wing of a party, they still kneel at that throne. They're still like, "Oh, look, Jake Tapper released a book. He's making it real." It's like we need to throw these people overboard and like never pay attention to them again. Like that's what we need to do. I mean, it shouldn't be like, oh, Leslie Stahl is finally coming around. Leslie Stahl's never coming around. You know, I
Right.
mean, I don't care what they have to say. Scott Pelley on 60 Minutes, 60 Minutes in general, ABC News. Oh, we're telling the View to tone it down with their anti-Trump rhetoric. I'm like, I don't care, man. Keep at it. Like, I don't listen to you guys. No one with a brain should even be listening to you guys anymore. Like, I don't need you to get better. I need you to vanish. You know, I mean, that's my
Yeah.
message to Tapper. It's like,
Why do you think
congratulations,
Tapper wrote this book?
to cover his own ass.
Right, but like, don't you think that, I mean, I guess it's kind of like an OJ thing that, oh, you got acquitted, but you then
If
basically
I
told on
did it,
yourself.
yeah, this is tap.
Why do you
This
think
book
that,
is Tapper's like if I did it, like that O.J. Simpson wrote.
but
Do you
you
remember
don't you,
that?
wouldn't you think that like that he would that people would come for him after all this? Like, you didn't say anything. Why didn't you say anything?
No, we are. I mean, but we were saying this 3 years ago. We were calling out Tapper as a POS 3 years ago. Like
I'm
most
talking about
people.
the people that that can do something about it, like Congress.
I don't know. I don't
Or do
know.
you think he's gonna then after? I bet you what's gonna happen is after all this like, comes out and people start, if they try to start accusing him of shit, he's gonna be like, "Oh, it was just satire,
Yeah, I
not
mean, I don't
fiction
know. I mean, you got this thing
or
that came
fiction."
out
I don't know.
like today or yesterday or day before. The deputy director Bongino and Patel are like, oh, we're pursuing the pipe bomber. We're pursuing what were the other two things they came out with that they were talking? Oh, who leaked the the Dobbs decision, Supreme Court, with the abortion case a few years ago. Who left the cocaine in the White House? It's like, again, I'll believe it when I see it.
We know who does that cocaine in the White House.
But I'm just saying that when they're talking about like, oh, we're investigating this, I'm like, how long does it take? I mean, there's no investigation that needs to be done. All the investigation has been done. They have the info. Why aren't these reports coming out? I like Mangino, I like Patel, I like Trump. I know we're only 5 months into this, but that's been 5 months, man. Like, where is this information? If I mean, and now they're saying like, oh, there's no evidence that Epstein killed himself. I don't need to hear Bongino say it. I don't need to hear Patel say it. Where's the data? Where are the
Right.
reports? Where's the files? Just release it. Just release it. Why aren't you releasing it? The guy is dead. There's no like attorney-client privilege issues anymore. There's no
Oh, they're trying to protect the
privacy
victims. They're
issues.
protecting the victims.
That's
That's what their
BS,
story is.
man. I mean,
It is BS.
the victims are like, please expose this at this point.
Right.
So again, to me, it's disheartening because I trust these people. I trust Bongino, I trust Patel, but that's going to run out very soon. If I don't
Yeah.
see, just again, I don't need you to tell me. Just release the files. Just release them. We're all, this is the government of the people, by the people, for the people. We are the sovereign. We are the ones that hold the power in this country. Just release the information. This is not complicated. You know, I don't know. I mean, it's like they're worried about offending this person or that person. We're talking about losing our republic, right?
Yeah.
We need this information.
Yeah. There's a lot I mean, also what you mentioned the auto pen before
Yeah,
with Biden.
yeah,
All of these players from Fauci to Hunter to Jill to everybody, Kamala, everybody on the White House staff, they all get pardons, right? That cover this almost infinite amount of time. Okay. Okay, well, let's go after that.
yeah,
Make a case that he didn't actually have the mental fucking faculties or any knowledge of what was being auto penned. Like, try to make that case, investigate that so that you can actually prosecute these people for the shit that they did.
right.
Because he gave blanket pardons to everybody, right?
His
Pretty
whole
much.
family. Yeah,
Yeah. And Fauci and people in his administration. That was my understanding of it. That he supposedly there's like 3,000 pardons, weren't there? I mean, weren't there like literally
Yes,
thousands?
yes, there were thousands, and again,
So how the hell was he doing that if he didn't even know his middle name at that point?
he wasn't. That's the thing. I mean,
I know, that's what I'm saying. So
but
go attack that.
and we kind of knew it. We already knew it. I don't know. All this stuff with the new mantra with the party media is like, oh man, we're against fraud and waste and abuse, but he's going at this with a cleaver instead of a scalpel. I'm like, yeah,
So
yeah, it has to be a meat cleaver. The
mm.
scalpel doesn't work, man. But again, their
Didn't Congress
perspective,
drop the ball on those Doge cuts anyway?
they have.
Yeah.
I mean, and the thing is, I mean, I've heard different things. I've heard it's discretionary, so that's not part of this bill anyway. Whatever it is, I'm just like, we've seen what the scalpel does. The scalpel does nothing, you know? I mean, you have a patient, this country, that is on the table, like coding out. Like, you need dramatic things. You don't need a scalpel, you do need a meat cleaver. And the fact that the media is like, oh, we need to take our time, it belies the reality, the truth that they really don't want to fix anything. The
No.
media does not want to fix anything. They want to slow it down. They want to run out the clock. Oh, here's another thing from our guest. Well, he said, thank God for Rogan. Hello, man. Like, how about thank God for Friends of Zeus podcast?
Yeah,
But he said,
seriously.
here's my question. If John Paul McIsaac was full of shit, then show where the pictures of Hunter came from if they weren't from the laptop. And again, I think that's been pretty well established, I mean, hopefully, but I'm sure there's still people out there that are like, John Paul is a Russian agent or whatever. Again, this stuff gets said, and there's people in our society, our friends and neighbors and loved ones, they don't get the rest of the story. There is no Paul Harvey. They hear the initial story, and 5 years, 10 years later, they're still just like, there were 5 officers murdered at January 6th during the
Hmm.
insurrection, right? And they'll believe that to their grave,
Yeah, no,
because
I mean,
yeah,
I was just going to say another one of their mantras before when they were prosecuting Trump, like in every different way you could, was no one is above the law.
right, right.
No one is
Apparently,
above the law. But now that's gone out the window. Now that judges are getting arrested for harboring or aiding illegal aliens, it's like, oh, he's a fascist. He's locking up the judges
yeah,
now.
yeah. I
It's
mean,
unbelievable.
completely bananas. I mean,
I,
on a,
I
yeah,
I just saw somebody on Facebook who's constantly got negative Trump stuff. He said he found something where ChatGPT broke down the alleged assassination attempt of Donald Trump. Like, okay, so that was faked.
that was alleged.
Another thing he posted was Trump just deported a 4-year-old girl who's got terminal cancer. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah,
It's just, and the media plays up these stories to the nearly 80 million or whatever people that voted for Kamala. And
yeah.
that's why I agree with you that the media beast is alive and well. And if things aren't changed right away, the same bullshit is being run every day on every network. Anything negative about Trump they can say, they say, and they're not going to cover this Biden shit at all.
Yeah, again,
You know,
they
Jake's book sales got a nice little boost because it just came out and he's able to do the circuit and talk about it. But the news isn't going to talk about, hey, why wasn't the 25th, why wasn't that advocated for? Why didn't the vice president, push for
and
that?
and
Why
these
didn't
are
that happen?
and these are the same people that were calling for the 25th Amendment to be invoked like 2 seconds into the first Trump administration.
That's right, because he was a Russian asset and all that.
Impeach,
Yeah,
impeach, impeach. And I mean,
yeah,
again, the media, and I'll
they're
say this
hypocrites.
very slowly for people that don't seem to
For the
understand
people in the
this,
back.
people in the back, the party media, the MSNBC, CNN, NBC, ABC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC 13, all those places, New York Post or New York Times, Washington
Washington Post.
Post,
Yeah,
they're not there to inform you. They are there to push a narrative and indoctrinate you. And you may not believe it. You may think that they're very nice people, but they're not. And you can either just keep, it's like the Matrix. You can just keep going on believing that they're just out there gumshoes doing their little press thing and reporting the news, or you can have a dose of reality and understand that you are being fed a bill of goods. And we've been here like a fire hose for 4 years trying to tell people that it's the latter. And I really hope, I really hope if there's one thing that this show does, even though, maybe not many people are seeing it, that at least there's people out there that have their eyes open that are like, you know, this the media is not there to inform you. They're there to indoctrinate you. It's so clear. It's so
Yeah.
clear.
It's too bad YouTube doesn't like us and then screws our algorithms.
I
We
know.
can't get out there at all.
I know.
I blame YouTube. Sorry, YouTube.
There was oh, what's our guest saying here? This nation has lost integrity. That's the real problem. Hmm.
He says, I've never felt like 1984 was a predictive journal more than now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And and I will say this to our guest, it's been like 15 years plus. I
Yep.
mean, it's been creeping, but it's been really turned up in like the last 15 years or
Yeah,
so.
since Obama.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, where a nation of 300 plus million people elected the very first African American, at least partially,
Yeah.
president. Um, and he was able to get into office and then tell everyone how racist this country was, right?
Yeah.
So,
And people bought it.
and people bought it. It's
Hmm.
amazing.
Yep.
So
Well,
what's,
I don't know, Mike. I don't know if you guys want, because I think we've thoroughly covered the Biden subject, and we can wrap it up. But you had mentioned something in the text thread, Mike, about, and I think we touched on it the last couple of weeks, but the Trump versus the renegade judges.
yeah, the district court judges.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, this has been, again, another thing where if you're trying to look for truth, do not look to the party media. Um, we have a situation going on right now where you have district court judges. There's about 750 of them in the country. And there's ones that are just there trying to do their best. There's ones there that are partisan one way or partisan the other way. Um, and everything that this administration pretty much is trying to enact, they are putting out these nationwide um, orders that basically shut down uh, these executive orders or these policies that are being enacted. And the thing is that, and again, we could go on for like an hour for this, but there are no district or circuit courts in the Constitution. These district courts and circuit courts are a product of Congress, right? So when we have Article 1, which is Congress, 2, the executive branch, 3, which is the Supreme Court, these courts are not under the jurisdiction of Article 3. They're under the jurisdiction of Article 1. They come from Congress. They serve at the behest of Congress. They're basically, as the country expanded and got bigger, it was like, okay, we want to have these localized district courts that can handle things that are occurring on the federal level, all across the country. They were never meant to be able to issue like a nationwide ban. Just for some perspective, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court can't do this.
Right.
Okay. In fact, what is it? Isn't the quorum like four Supreme Court justices that are needed to agree to put a stay on something? And that's not a final. But I'm saying the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States does not have the power that Jimmy Lugnuts out in Oklahoma is trying to
Hey
exercise
now,
right now.
stop being mean, Oklahoma.
I like Oklahoma.
I don't think it's Oklahoma doing it.
I know it's not. It's basically, again, it's in California, it's in New
Yeah.
York
DC.
and DC. And again, you have this uncritical press because it suits their narrative and suits their purpose. They're not reporting any of like the actual facts associated with this. They're like, Trump is breaking the law. It's like, okay, and whenever people tell me this, I'm like, okay, what law is he breaking? No one can answer that question because he's not. These
Right.
are policy issues that these circuit courts are getting up there and saying like are putting injunctions on, and our Supreme Court and the Chief Justice are so weak right now. They could put an end to this tomorrow. They could put an end to this right
I
now.
know.
Yeah, I was
Congress
gonna
could
say,
put
why
an
don't
end
they do that? Like,
They-
hey, y'all,
No,
because
stay in your
they're
lane.
weak.
they're
They're
Stay in
weak.
your lane.
they're
Y'all need to
weak.
go hear murder cases and
Yeah.
fucking speeding ticket trials.
No, no,
Stay in your lane.
And
they're weak.
Congress could put an end to this tomorrow. Congress could
Yep.
just eliminate um a lot of these courts. I mean, you have the circuit courts, you have the district courts. Um, again, it is. I mean, I don't know it's hundreds of these things, and they're being blocked by like a dozen judges, right? So it's like Chutkin here in DC, one of my neighbors. She was one of the ones that threw probably half the people that were incarcerated without trial in solitary confinement for what happened on January 6th. Um, Whoa, hey, kitty cat.
There he
Um,
is.
she's doing this. The
He's
g-
mad.
the guys up in New York that are doing this. And again, where I'd like someone to explain to me, Leslie Stahl, Jake Tapper, any of these people, how is it that a one of 750 nationwide district court judge from, Bumblefuck, Arizona or Bumblefuck, California can get there and say like, I can override the president of the United States on this issue. So basically, you have a situation, and for all these people out there that are like, democracy dies in darkness. You have 77 million people, majority of people who voted for this guy for president, and he's doing exactly what he campaigned on,
Yep.
right? And you've got one radical far left Democrat judge in whatever in San Francisco that puts the kibosh on it for the whole country. I mean, again,
It
it was
seems
never
like
meant to be that
it
way. They've
seems bigger than
grabbed,
you're supposed to be.
yes,
Like,
this power was not given to them. They have seized it, and our Supreme Court and our Congress has not slapped them back. There was
That's
nothing saying that they can do this. They're just doing it. Do you understand? I mean, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you're right. The only help the only place the help could come from would be the Supreme Court or Congress,
Or
and
Congress.
they're not, and I don't know what Trump can do about that. Can he go full fascist? Does he prove everybody
Well,
right and say "fuck you, judges"? I'm
well,
going to do it anyway. I mean,
here's the thing
you
that
overstepped your power, you're fired.
here's the thing that he's been doing that I think is genius, although it's very frustrating. He has not violated a single thing that the court has said. So he's playing ball with what is set up right now. He wants SCOTUS or Congress to jump in and fix this because he knows if he just is like, screw you guys, it's going to blow up. So he
right.
knows that, and he's got some time. But if this keeps going through the summer and we're in the fall and we're still talking about this,
Over.
I think it's gonna head to that. I mean, he's not gonna like sit on his hands for 4 years. There's just no way he's going to. But he's giving Congress and the Supreme Court ample opportunity to do the right thing, to do the right thing with this stuff. I mean, this is tyranny. This is judicial tyranny by definition. You have unelected one dude who is overriding the will of the majority of people in this country who voted for a president who said he was going to do exactly this. How is that? Again, the people in our country, United States citizens, we are the sovereign. We are the ones with the power. We elected this guy to do what we want him to do, and you have this one person who's saying like, "Oh no, I can override you."
I
It's
don't understand why,
bananas.
like, okay, so San Francisco County, or I guess it would be a district, let's just say District 4. I
Yeah.
don't know. Judge puts a injunction on whatever thing. Why can't Sedgwick County Judge, District
Yes.
18, say, man, I'm overruled?
Desiree,
Like,
that is,
why can't they do that?
yeah,
If they can't do that at all.
they can. That's a great
Well,
point, and
but
I've wondered why they haven't. Like, because and it begs the question because that is doable. Like, you could have this circuit court judge in the Ninth Circuit, whatever, make this thing, and then you could have a judge in Texas being like, no, I overrule you. I mean, this gets very messy very quickly. The fact that it hasn't happened, I would love someone who's an expert on this to explain it. I think it hasn't happened because the judges that would are in the mind to do that understand that that would just throw a match into the gasoline, and that they were hoping, like everyone else, like we are, and that the administration is that Supreme Court or Congress steps up and does their job. But you could get in, like, if, in other words, if one
right,
district
so
court can
but
rule
you
this, why can't another district court rule
will
against them?
overrule,
Well,
or
doesn't
why
a
can't
suit
the
have
state of
to?
California what am I thinking of? Just like the state of California Supreme Court. I'm sure it wouldn't be the state of California Supreme Court because I'm sure they go one way and it's the same
Hmm.
way. But let's just say
Well, there's nine yeah.
Nevada State Supreme Court. How come they can't be like, California, you're just doing too
Yeah,
much. Like,
Well,
you need
wait a
to
minute.
step back.
Don't the suits have to be brought before the particular judges in the particular district.
correct.
So the people that are suing to try to like thwart Trump's executive orders or his, or call it the will of the people. Let's say it's an immigration thing, right? Let's say it's the Maryland man case or whatever. The lawsuit has to be brought, you know, before, let's say, a conservative judge that would rule in favor of what Trump, you know what I mean? Like Desiree's saying, that would contradict these other California judges or whatever. I
Right.
think the suit has to be brought before that particular, call him hypothetical conservative judge.
Correct. Yeah, he can't
And
just
and I,
reach out. Yeah.
right, he can't just reach out. So I mean, I guess these legal advocates, whether it's the ACLU or whether it's the Southern Poverty Law Center or whether it's some kind of
Soros. Yeah.
nonprofit pro-immigration group that brings a lawsuit, they know where to sue.
Correct. Yeah, they are
Yeah,
judge shopping.
yeah, they're judge shopping.
But to Desiree's point, like, they are there other people judge shopping conservative districts with this? I mean, I don't know if it's
Right, but what I'm
happening and
saying
the
is
judges aren't taking it.
there's all these things, on the books that are say, okay, if you are doing something, if you're, I mean, technically, this is not even in their power. This is out of sight of their scope of practice to be putting these injunctions on these things. So why isn't there some judge that's above that district, county, circuit, whatever judge that's
Well,
saying you're doing stuff that's not your job. Maybe you
Well,
shouldn't have this job.
it'd
yeah,
have to
so
be the appellate court, and then eventually that's the Supreme Court, right? I mean, that's
well,
where it would
eventually,
go.
so yeah, there's nine circuits in the United States,
And are these
circuit
circuit
courts.
judges or they're district judges that are doing this?
And then there's like 750 district
Right.
court judges below the
The circuit
circuit
courts.
court. So the district court judges say X, and then it can be appealed to the circuit. In a lot of these cases, the circuit courts, they only need I think like three judges to hear it, and they vote, and so it's a majority of three, right? So it's best, two, they need two out of three to rule in a certain way, and that's what's been happening. But they're picking districts that are in circuits that are incredibly activist. Again, that's why it's happening in
Yeah.
San Francisco, DC, and
DC,
New
New
York
York.
only. That's the
Yeah.
only three places this is happening.
Yeah.
So they appeal it to the circuit court level, and then it can go to the Supreme Court, which it will. And just like this case with Tish, whatever her name is up in New York, where Trump was convicted on 34 counts, that will get overruled. That's going to get appealed and overruled. It's just a matter of time. But they are not interested in they're interested in running out the clock. Trump only has 4 years. So again, the whole thing that's crazy about this is a judge is like, I'm going to put an injunction on this and you can appeal it. And the appeal process is going to take 3 years. Well, he's going to be out in 3.5 years.
I get I get everything you're saying. I just don't understand why there is not somebody that's out there. I don't know what position or how higher or even at a parallel position of the same judges putting the judges, whatever they're
I'm
putting.
with you.
Judges.
It's a great question. I want someone to answer that for us because
That is like, you can't do that. That's not your job.
Isn't
like,
someone taking this
stop.
to some district court in Texas and getting
No.
some of the rule
I'm
on
not
it?
talking about the specific lawsuit in general. I'm just talking about the fact that they're putting the injunctions on the suit
At all.
or on the
The
whatever they're
policies.
putting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, it's just I'd love being lectured to
The mayor.
by
I don't know.
this
The
party
governor.
who talks about like democracy dying in darkness or like protecting democracy, and they are full-throated supporting having a basically activist wearing a robe, right? Just overrule the president of the duly elected president of the United States, and they're totally okay with that. And then they'll turn around and say like they're trying to protect democracy. I mean, these people are dangerous. They are. They're wackadoos, man. They're total wackadoos. But I don't know.
Oh, well, I don't know, guys. I wish we could have solved all of America's problems on this podcast tonight.
We'll
but
do it
at
next
least,
time.
yeah, we'll fix it. We'll get there. I don't know. Anybody got anything else? Or you think we've been on for a while.
Maybe
I
we
mean-
should just all go be judges.
All right,
I mean,
man. Let's do it.
Or at least a magistrate. That's even lower than a judge. I mean, is it lower than a judge?
A magistrate, I think that's in like Europe.
I
No, we've got
think we should bring back those wigs too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Curlywigs.
Yeah, I want like a really
Did
long
you guys
curly
ever,
one.
like when you were little in the pool, do the George Washington hair flip?
Oh,
You guys
yeah.
are boys. Probably not.
Yeah.
Or you like
No, I had long
bring
hair.
up
I
your
could do
hair
that.
and then you try to like flip it back and it curls like.
No, I never did that.
Oh, wow. You missed
Although
out, man.
I was in a pool this past Saturday and it was freezing cold, but I stayed in there for like 45 minutes.
Good for
Yeah.
you.
And the pool
Cool.
opened up finally. Yeah.
That's
I
like
was
the,
like,
that's like the polar bear thing.
it's
Polar
kind of
plunge.
like what it was. Yeah, I had to go in because I was there with my daughter and her friends, and because we were like, let's go to the pool. Pool opens. It's
Opening
Memorial
day,
Day.
woo!
And we get there, and
Terrible day to go to the pool
I'm expecting it to be packed. Nobody in the water.
because it's cold.
And so I got all these kids, all these kids like fourth and fifth graders, and so I'm like, I got to get in the pool, and I just went in the pool, took my breath away, man. That water is probably like 65 degrees or something.
Oof, couldn't do it.
But I
Yeah, and
stayed
it's
in
not been
there.
very like hot. Like usually by now it's like hot as balls. It's 100-degree. We've
Yeah.
had at least 100-degree weather by now.
Yeah,
It has not been like that.
No.
They say it's global warming. It's not. We are not warming.
it hasn't been over 70
We
here
are
in like
still this
4
is
days.
it's still spring here. Like this is
Yeah,
usually
same.
we see like 3 weeks of spring and then boom, it's hot as fuck until August.
Our
And
guest,
it's when it's still hotter than fuck, but
our guest is saying that he has no hair, and it's rude that we're talking about that.
oh well, you may have when you were younger. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm
No,
sure.
I don't know if he had much.
Yeah, I'm
Oh.
not sure. Okay, everybody.
Yeah, we've been on for a while. Let's see. Do the hand thing. Let's wrap it up. All right. We'll see you guys next week. Take care, everybody.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.